Well, guilty in chilling new details, Vance Boelter has pleaded guilty to all the federal charges he was facing in his murderous political shooting spree that terrorized Minnesota a year ago.
So Boelter has agreed now to serve consecutive life sentences with no chance for release. Paul Bloom was in the courtroom for today's proceedings. And Paul, in exchange for that guilty plea, federal prosecutors agreed not to seek the death penalty. Why did they make that move?
Kelsey and Simone, the U.S. attorney made clear that political violence of any kind would not be tolerated. And the only way the federal government was taking the death penalty off the table in Vance Boelter's case was if he pleaded guilty to all federal charges filed against him, and he agreed to spend the rest of his life behind bars.
This case, as charged, was certainly death penalty eligible, and we would have prevailed in that ultimately in the courts. But the truth is, when you have a defendant that is prepared to plead guilty, take consecutive life terms plus to ensure that he never sees freedom again in his entire life, that was an opportunity that we just could not pass up.
In the end here, Boelter pleaded guilty to the 6 federal counts there on your screen: stalking the family of Senator John Hoffman, of course shooting Hoffman and his wife, murder of former DFL House Speaker Melissa Hoffman and her husband Mark, as well as a pair of those federal firearms offenses. Boelter admitted that he had planned his murderous spree months before the attack, that he carried it out while impersonating a police officer, and that his intention was to, quote, kill lawmakers.
And Paul, you have been updating us on social media. We've been following your reporting there, and you noted that Boelter's admission included some new chilling details about his attacks. What stood out to you today?
Right, Simone, and I've covered this case since hours after the shootings themselves. It had to be, though, what stood out to me was what happened at the Hortman's Brooklyn Park home early that Saturday morning last June. Boelter answering a slew of straightforward, factual questions from his attorney during his allocution and detailing the encounter with the Hortmans, pretending to be a, quote, Maple Grove police officer, telling Mark Hortman at the door that he needed to see Mark's wife before he could leave, and then opening fire while pursuing a fleeing Melissa Hoffman up her own stairs, and assassinating the former DFL House Speaker by putting a gun to her head and firing. Those details drawing audible emotion from family members sitting right by me in the courtroom.
Political violence is a scourge plaguing America in our times. The murders of Speaker of the House Melissa Hoffman and Mark Hoffman, shooting of Senator John Hoffman and Yvette Hoffman, and the attempted shooting of Hope Hoffman are among the worst political violence crimes that we have seen.
And so, Paul, what can you tell us about the sentencing process? Also, the state charges that Boelter is still facing, were those part of this plea agreement?
They were not. Those state charges, including a pair of first-degree murder indictments that may also yield mandatory life sentences, will move forward separately. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office saying today it was already in talks to get Vance Boelter transferred over to state court to ensure justice is served on behalf of Minnesota. As for federal sentencing, no date been formally set at this point, but the judge says he wants all of it wrapped up by the end of July. And it is there that Boelter will have the opportunity, of course, to speak out and perhaps give everyone the chance to better understand why he did what he did. We heard nothing related to motivation or what inspired him to carry out these deadly attacks.
All right, Paul Bloom in our studio tonight. Thank you, Paul. And following the hearing, the Hoffman family released a statement. It says, quote, "There is no justice for Mark and Melissa Hoffman, and there is not justice when our family and our state will never truly heal. While the legal process may provide accountability, true healing requires something more from all of us." They go on to say that they have made the choice to go forward with public service and urge Minnesotans and other Americans to treat people with respect and stop dividing the country with hate and rhetoric.